What's kind of like your background? Because some people don't absolutely know who you are, and some people barely know who you are, maybe just know you as a coach from Ultimate Fighter 60. Tell me about your background and some of the guys you've actually helped along the way from the very beginning.
Well, my mixed martial arts started at, like, I fought myself in Ring of Fire back in 2005 or something.
Yeah.
And right after that, I was helping Alvin Robinson, and I was coaching wrestling at UNC. And I think I was at a Ring of Fire when Shane Carlin was like 4-0 or something.
I was going to say,
they announced him out of Greeley, and so I remembered him from his college wrestling days. He was a national champ, and it's like, man, he lives in Greeley. We have a really good heavyweight. You know, we should get him in there to wrestle with him. So I called Shane, and I'd never met him before, and just introduced myself and asked him if he'd be willing to come work out with our heavyweight, who at the time was like a top 12 Division I heavyweight. His name's Reese Hopkin. And Shane said, "Oh yeah, I'll come in if you'll help Nate Marquardt with his wrestling."
Oh, no.
I was like, "Oh man, I'm a big fan of Nate, so yeah, I'd love to." So I started helping Nate, and then Nate started asking if he could bring, you know, like Brendan and Elliot, and brought George St. Pierre and Keith Jardine, and kept bringing all these guys in. Bringing all these guys in to practice, and you know, most of them just really liked my style and what I was showing, and you know, George has since flown me up to Montreal to help him for the cost check camp, and I've kept a pretty good relationship with a lot of those guys. And after, I think, a year and a half of them driving to Greeley twice a week, which is, you know, an hour each way, I just decided that my heart was more with MMA, and decided to step down at UNC and start, you know, working full time with the mixed martial arts guys at both Easton's and Grudge. So that's how it started.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it started, and then it just takes out. Another person that I was talking to you off camera was pretty much the evolution of Ben Henderson when he came here in Denver. He actually, like you said, at the UFC 150 press conference, he was pretty much thinking about being a cop and just letting MMA go.
Funny story.
What's the transition?
I've known Ben since he was a 17-year-old freshman in college, you know.
Yeah.
And the guy's never drank alcohol, never done anything.
Very straight edge. Yeah.
Very straight edge guy. And his college career, we were on the same team for 4 years. I was a year older, but his true freshman year, I think it was my redshirt freshman year. But he started off, I think, with like a losing record his freshman year. I think it was like 50-50 his sophomore year, and then I think he got 5th twice his junior and senior year at Nationals. And then I graduated, and I was here for a year, and then fought and was, you know, helping Alvin Robinson with some of his wrestling and stuff. And Ben called me and said, I think I want to fight. You know, if I come out there, will you help me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So he comes out, and one of my coaches at the time was a DEA agent, and so Ben wanted to be a cop. I think he was criminal justice major or something like that. And they basically offered, he had a job offer in Omaha and in Denver to be a policeman, starting off at 40 or 50 grand a year, whatever. And his fighting career started off like 2-2. So it was kind of like his wrestling career. And I was kind of like, man, I don't know, you know, you might want to think about taking one of these jobs, because, like, you know, they're not going to be around forever.
Especially with the 2-2 record.
His mom, who's now his biggest fan, was really mad that he wouldn't take a job as a cop. She's like, what are you doing? You know? And at the time, John Crouch got offered the head job at the lab, and I think they offered Ben a sponsorship, like $800 a month or $1,000 a month or something. And he's like, man, what should I do? You know, I came out here to train with you, but what do I do? And I was like, take it. Some guys don't make $1,000 a fight. If you can make $1,000 a month, I think he had to mop the mats every day. Man, I'd take it. And he did. He moved out there, and I think he won his next 10 straight or whatever to the WEC belt. You know? So hard worker, man, very dedicated. You won't find a harder worker. And it's funny because Ben and I, he was 157, I was 65, and we were workout partners every day. We got in fist fights. You know, I think we fought 3 or 4 times in college, and then I'd take him home with me for Thanksgiving the day after. You know? So it's good to see him having the success he has. He deserves it. Yeah,
and he definitely is a scrapper too. And it seems like, especially when you're saying he was at 156 at college, and a lot of people think that he's a gigantic 155er. Do you think that's really advantaged him going into the fight, like with Nate and Gil, where they, you know, you meet them in real life and you're thinking, oh, this is a natural 155er, but you look at Ben and sometimes he looks like he's 170, could be even 185 if he bulked up. So.
I don't know what Ben weighs when he's not fighting. I would bet he's 175.
Oh yeah, I know he cheats quite a bit because he'll talk about how he cuts the weight and everything to go down to 155.
Yeah, like I said, hard worker though. You know, he stays really dedicated on his diet, makes the weight cut easy. It hasn't affected him, so he's not cutting too much. You know, he's got probably a 26-inch waist. So,
exactly.
He's got these huge quadzilla
legs. His gigantic quads, you can definitely tell that just from the shorts he wears and everything else. He's just a monster. But one huge question that people keep on asking me nonstop, even if they don't really get into the UFC all that much, is the status of Shane, and also if you think he'll return this year, and how do you think his knee and his recovery will be? Hopefully,
and that's on Shane. You know, I know he definitely hasn't said that he wants to retire.
Yeah.
But those are just questions he has to answer for himself. He's got a good job. He's got a family. He's secure.
Yeah.
He doesn't do this for the money. He doesn't. More than that, he doesn't do it for the fame. So the last thing Shane wants to do is an interview.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to see himself on TV. He likes to compete. And I'm telling you what, Shane Carwin could come in off his couch right now
and probably clear out the heavyweight division.
He lost to Dos Santos and everything. That wasn't Shane Carwin. You know, Shane is the guy that went in and mauled Brock Lesnar for a round, and there's very few people in the world that can survive that.
Yeah.
And I will always say that there's not a scarier person on this earth, you know.
Well, not only that, him getting dropped in the first round against Dos Santos to even survive that, and then going for 2 rounds where, you know, so many people thought that he looked like an old beaten up guy, but how many other guys are going to take the beating from Dos Santos?
He also weighed in at 242 pounds or something. He was on this crazy diet and lost all this weight. And, that's not Shane, man. I liked the Shane that I was sitting in the sauna with before the Frank Mir fight. I think he had to cut 11 pounds the day of weigh-ins for Frank Mir. And that, you know, that's eating whatever he wants. Pizza rolls, you know,
whatever he feels like.
Just being a heavyweight and being a true heavyweight. He was 283 pounds in the majority of camp or something like that. So I really believe that Shane Carwin right now, you know, with no training, coming off any injury, could give anybody hell.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize that he has a normal 9-to-5 job, you know, up in Weld County and stuff like that. He's got multiple degrees. So a lot of people don't realize that.
Back to the Dos Santos fight, too, though. The weight cut and everything, it was people saying, like, well, you need to get in shape. You lost the Lesnar fight. He wasn't out of shape.
No.
He threw like 120-something power punches in 3.5 minutes. You know, I don't care if you're a 125-pounder, you're going to get tired. He's holding his breath because the ref's saying, I'm going to stop it, I'm going to stop it, you know. That was a fluke, man. I really, and so he's listening to all that and wanted to get in shape and lose all this weight, and he did, and he looked great and everything, but again, man, that's not him.
Well, not only that, he took the fight on short notice. It was supposed to be Lesnar and Dos Santos, too.
But he was on the undercard, so he was training. He was training.
So that,
for a different opponent, but he was training.
Exactly. So I think that comes into play, too. So because I think he was supposed to fight John Olivinamo. And then he ended up taking replaced Lesnar pretty much. So it's got to be a crazy scene. As far as the knee, you know, Brandon pretty much said that, you know, it was a pretty bad injury and stuff like that. Do you think it'll take maybe summer return, or were you thinking maybe later return? What do you think?
Honestly, I haven't been part of those conversations, so I don't know.
No. Okay. Well, that's good enough for me. Now, I'd just like to have your thoughts on just some of the fights that are happening. Matt Wyman will be taking on TJ Grant. Matt Wyman, obviously, from Colorado. Have you worked with Matt, and have you heard anything of what his camp has been like?
I have not actually worked with Matt. I know he goes to some of the Easton's gyms and stuff.
I
never actually worked with him.
Okay.
That being said, I'm picking him.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go with the Colorado guys. So, another guy that is huge in Chicago, is pretty much huge all over the world, but Chicago, people go nuts for him. It's Clay Guida. He's going to be fighting his first ever in Chicago fight for the UFC, and he's fighting Hatu Hayoki. And a lot of people pretty much look at Clay Guida getting a win. What's your thoughts on Clay?
Clay's a guy you put the spotlight on him. He's hard to beat. You know, he might not be the most impressive in the practice room, like, you know, but you put the lights on. He's got that unorthodox style and that pace that's hard to keep up with. So, you know, it's hard to ever bet against Clay. Yeah,
and he's just crazy, too. He just does whatever he wants at any given time. And you got Sean Jordan, a former LSU fullback that came pretty much right out of football, out of college, right to Jackson's camp. And then he's fighting Mike Russell, who's a former college police officer, or I'm sorry, former Chicago police officer. And Russell pretty much was going through everybody until he met Fabricio Verdun and pretty much got destroyed.
That's a tough fight there. So, I honestly think that's a pick 'em.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Flip a coin on that one.
Yeah, because a lot of people are high on Sean Jordan kind of making the transition, almost kind of like what Brendan did from the football field all the way to MMA and stuff, and kind of grown with the Jackson family. The first fight on the main card is going to be Eric Koch versus Ricardo Lamas. Lamas basically has a 14-2 record. Eric Koch has a 13-1 record.
I like Lamas.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of surprised because I think a lot of people are not giving Eric Koch a chance, but Lamas is pretty much a hometown guy as well. You know, went to college at Elmhurst there and stuff like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we don't have to ask you about Don Cerrone and Anthony Pettis. And then the last two we got is Glover Teixeira versus Rampage. Your thoughts on Rampage's final fight, and what do you think will happen in the fight?
And you never know with Rampage, but I'm going to go with Glover on that one. You know what? We'll go with the American.
Yeah.
Rampage.
You want to go with Rampage just to end it out?
He still represents wrestling a little bit, so we'll go with Rampage.
Yeah, and obviously the main event's going to be John Dodson, #1 contender out of Jackson's, facing none other than Demetrius Johnson.
I can't wait to see that fight.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been criticizing these 125-pound fights because they have a hard
These guys
time
are crazy.
finishing each other, but they're 125 pounds. They don't have the same knockout power as a heavyweight.
Yeah.
But, man, both of those two do. They're some explosive dudes. Demetrius stays in great position. He's very hard to get out of position. If you take him down, he scrambles.
Yeah.
John is so unpredictable, you know. And,
he's crazy.
I've seen him fight forever, man.
I was going to say,
he used to fight in
New Mexico and stuff like that.
Down there. I've seen him fight.
Yeah.
Man, he's crazy. So I don't know on that one, but yeah, that's a good fight though.
I'm predicting, like I predicted after Dodson's last win, I think he will be the new UFC champion.
I think he will be too. I think he's so unpredictable. So you got the same speed and athleticism, but you got that John Jones unpredictable. You know.
You have no idea because I'll do spinning back this, I'll do whatever.
Although I will say that, you know, Demetrius wrestled in college, and so after the, I don't remember which fight it was. There's like I think 6 of the 8 UFC champs right now represent college wrestling.
Yeah.
I do include George in that because
exactly.
Because he says wrestling's the most important part of MMA, and that's what he works on a lot. He's wrestled since he was like 16 on the Montreal club, but.
And not only that, he's thought about going to the Olympics. Do you think possibly later down in the future? You still
you need a lot of work on that.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a really tough guy on their Olympic team at his weight, so you can't.
It'd have to be years.
Part time. It'd be a couple of years.
Yeah.
Probably take him 2 years to focus on it, and he can do anything in 2 years. But it's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
6 of the 8 come from wrestling.
Yeah.
So.
Now, as far as the actual strategy with Donald and stuff, a lot of people think there's no way in hell it's going to go to the ground, and obviously most people give the advantage on the ground to Cerrone. You know, do we expect just pretty much a stand-up war and just go at it, or just
with
really
Cowboy?
happens?
You know, I mean, if he says he's going to go in there and throw down, that's what
he's going to throw down.
So, you know, could he surprise somebody with a takedown? Probably. You know, could Pettis come out and try to take him down? Yes. But like you said, I think Cowboy's got a better ground game. So, you know, this is fight of the night. Yeah. You know, for sure.
Definitely fireworks too. And I think probably most likely somebody will be knocked out. I don't think it will go to a decision. So.
And it might. You got
you never know. I've said that before with Rashad and Rampage, and look what happened there.
They can both take a shot and give them. So
I
can't wait. It's going to be an exciting fight.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks,
Thank you.